I'm Baba. I'm the owner of Vintage Tattoo here in Highland Park. I moved in here and opened it in 1997, and I found it in 1995. So we've been at the same location since 1997.
So you grew up around this neighborhood?
Yeah, during the divorce, my mom lived here, and my aunt lived here, and my grandma lived here. So we're generations of family lived here. Like everybody Mexican in my family lived here.
Okay.
I don't look it, but I'm a half breed. Yeah, well, actually, the 40s and 50s, this was an Irish neighborhood. And in the late 60s and early 70s, a lot of Chicanos started moving up. Like Royal Heights. Royal Heights used to be a Jewish neighborhood. So there was a gentrification back then, even though people wouldn't say it, but it was. Like the actual Highland Park gang used to be a white car club called the Undertakers. So like it was working class, hardworking people. So then it's always been like LA's best kept secret. Like lots of artists. Mount Washington likes to say that they were the artists, little boutiques, but it was mostly Highland Park. And then early 80s, mid 80s, the gang started going insane, and Highland Park became one of the worst neighborhoods. To the point where Clinton talked shit about them during his presidency. It wasn't a safe place for people to be. Now it's a fucking circus.
Gentrification is a word that was invented in England about 40 years ago by a sociologist who found that a lot of working class neighborhoods were being infiltrated, colonized, or otherwise changed by wealthier people. And that has been happening in the United States for many years, but it's really intensified in the last 10 or 15 years because of the combination of the shortage of affordable housing and the widening inequality between the rich and everybody else. And so lots of neighborhoods in almost every major city in the United States, including Los Angeles, are undergoing some level of gentrification. And Highland Park in Los Angeles is probably ground zero in the battle over gentrification. Well, when there's a shortage of affordable housing and the wealthier families and households can outspend working class and poor people, then those existing tenants get pushed out of their neighborhoods. Many of whom live there for over a generation.
I've been living here for 9 years, and I moved in here in around November. I was only 8, and it was just me, my brother, my mom, and my dad, and my sister. The thing is that not many were happy here when they found out. You know, it was a shock, and because there are people here who have trouble with work and the rent and the fact that is, you know, sometimes it's hard. You know. You're a single mother and you have kids, and you know the fact that you have to go out and look for another place to live in is just hard for them. You know? And so that's why people decided to unite in this place, and you know take a stand to those who bought the place and make a decision that we're gonna fight, we're gonna stay, and we're gonna earn what we want, so that we can stay longer until we are able to find a place for us. I'm already on close to my last year. I'm only in 11th grade, of course, and I need to stay close by because I'm almost close to graduating. I've had my good times, my bad times here.
What's your favorite memory from here?
My favorite memory from here is that, you know, I made a lot of friends, and you know, watching them just go one by one was sad. And you know, the fact that, you know, I have, like, I'd say like only 2 here left, it gives me sadness because when I leave, and so will they, aside from the one that moved away, but still visits, I won't see them ever again.
So you expect you'll leave here?
Yeah, and it's just bad for me. I don't know what to do, but I'm only a child still, so
Yeah.
I would say more like whoever's like going through the same thing or whoever's gonna come and gets the same thing. Do not be afraid to fight. Do not be afraid to stand up and fight for your homes. Because evictions do hurt other people, and it's not easy for any of us. And it's not right to just go ahead and just buy a place. Without asking the residents, without asking them what is your opinion on this, how do we make this work. It's just not right because we're paying rent.
Yeah.
We're paying rent, and it's not right that you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that whoever's going through the same thing, who will, to not be afraid to do what is right for themselves.
Yeah, what's going on in the Marmion building is that a hedge fund outside investor bought the building. And that's been happening all over the country and in LA, where Wall Street hedge fund owners and absentee landlords and investors are buying property for speculation, and they kick out the tenants, they raise the rents, they bring in new tenants. Sometimes under the Los Angeles rent control law, it's very weak because of state law, it doesn't allow cities to have strong rent control. So every time a tenant moves out, under the current rent control system in California, landlords can raise the rents. And so landlords have an incentive to push tenants out, particularly those who have lived there for a long time, and then raise the rent. So there's a lot of harassment going on in neighborhoods that are feeling the pressures of gentrification. And Highland Park is one of those neighborhoods where people are being pushed out involuntarily.
Definitely, I understand raising prices a little bit, but yeah, if it's more than 6 to 10% in a year, that should be illegal. I wish it wasn't, because I would like to be able to buy. I was looking to buy a house here so I could stay here because I'm going to be working on the Purple Line for 8 years.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't find even anything affordable for me to buy.
What do you do for work?
I'm a civil engineer.
Okay.
Surveyor. So I'm working on the tunnel, the Purple Line downtown. And even out here, this was decently affordable, but I could easily see it being out of my price range in a couple years.
You could see you being pushed out of here.
Yeah, and I make a decent amount of money. It's not like I could only imagine being someone on low income, minimum wage. I've been living here forever.
Well, housing is a basic necessity. In my view, it should be a right. We just passed a proposition in Los Angeles to increase the funding for the homeless, but it would be better to solve the problem up front by creating more affordable housing than to solve the problem down the stream after people lose their homes.
Oh.
Gentrification isn't some natural act. It's the result of public policies, and so it can be fixed by public policies. So several things that the city could do. One is to require all developers to include affordable housing as part of their permission to develop. That's called inclusionary zoning or inclusionary housing. And Los Angeles should be embarrassed for not having its own inclusionary zoning law. There's a couple of state laws that need to be fixed in order to make it easier for Los Angeles to stem the tide of gentrification. One is something called the Costa-Hawkins Act, which is a state law passed in the 90s, which prohibits cities from having strong rent control. If we could get rid of that law, then cities that wanted to, it wouldn't be mandated, but if they wanted to, they could strengthen or adopt strong rent control laws. Another law that's really dangerous and has been hurting working class and poor tenants in Los Angeles, as well as other cities, is called the Ellis Act, which allows landlords to get out from under rent control by tearing down their buildings and building condominiums or other kinds of properties. And winners tend to be some of the local property owners who can sell their homes for more money, some businesses, particularly retail businesses, where there's more consumer dollars coming in Highland Park. But then the rent goes up on the building because they don't own the building. The landlord raises the rent, commercial rents, just like they do for residential rents. And there goes the family-owned neighborhood and the family-owned restaurant, and in comes a Starbucks or in comes another more expensive restaurant, and it changes the character of the neighborhood.
How has the changes affected you as a business owner in this town?
Zero.
Zero.
Unless you're part of this little hipster world, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to spend their money here. They have their own shops. And I think that's one of the things that people, there's a lot of misconceptions about these people. Yes, they're assholes. Yes, they have no respect. Yes, they think that they're entitled. And yes, they're mostly full of shit. But I'm kind of on the fence about all this because this wouldn't have happened if the people who lived here before didn't sell. You can't buy what's not for sale. Another problem is a lot of these people that are moving here have ideas of changing everything. Why did you want to move here just to change it? Like, this place was amazing. The houses are amazing. The neighborhood is amazing. The culture is amazing. It's funny because people that didn't give a fuck about the Chicano culture before, grandchildren of actual Chicanos, grandchildren of actual cholos and gangsters, are now acting like their culture's gone when they didn't care about it 10 years ago. They didn't give a fuck about it. You know, these chicks were bleaching their hair and going to see Britney Spears concerts. Now they're Chicanas. They don't want to pay $80 for a Highland Park ball for one game. But when Highland Park ball was open before, they weren't going there. See what I'm saying? They took advantage of the fact, or they took it for granted that the shit would be here. And these new people moved in and saw something and wanted to make it nice, and they did. So they're obviously going to charge this, and now you can't go there because you can't afford it. But when you could, you never went there. It took something radical to happen for these people to identify with their own culture, and now they're acting like everybody that's not them is an asshole, and then the people don't want to be treated like assholes, so they're being assholes back, and blah, 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 blah. You know, that's what's happening here. And I guess that's what's happening everywhere, but here it's ridiculous. Here, the problems I have are the little fucking dogs that piss and shit everywhere, and these people don't clean it. The people that think that because they have a Prius or some type of fucking, good for the environment car, that they have more rights than anybody else. And they can park wherever they want, and it's cool. The people that, they're just jerks. You know, a lot of them are jerks. And then again, on the other side, a lot of them are jerks too. But you can't get the two of them together because you have one culture that argues and then wants to get down and fight. You have another culture who is a lot more articulate in their arguing and will just outmouth these fuckers and then think that they're not going to get hit because that's barbaric, and then what's going to happen is shit's going to happen.
There's a lot of fights around here?
There has been. I've done it.
Yeah.
I fucked up some hipsters. They did not see that coming. So because some people are acting like assholes and entitled, everybody else thinks that everybody white here is all the same now. It doesn't work that way. Bottom line, all everybody needs to do is just fucking talk and treat each other with respect. It's a lot safer. There's not a lot of people running around with guns anymore. There's not a lot of drug sales. The drug sales obviously still happen, but I don't know where. I've never been high, but they used to happen just right there in front of everybody. You used to buy whatever you wanted right there in front of the post office. A lot of the businesses that I do like, I hate their businesses because they're just a bunch of pretentious assholes. But they took all the bars off. Like,
all the what?
Look at the record store across the street. There's no bars on the windows. There's no bars on the doors. They want you to feel safe, and they're making a safer environment. Where before, people were afraid to say something because you'd be a rat or whatever. Now they're saying something, and it's safer. So, you're going to have your goods and bads about all this shit. It's the people that move in's attitudes. And the people that lived here's attitudes towards people that moved in. Saying a hi is not that hard. And it's free. You don't have to pay for it.